Hi, we're here at Interim Healthcare, and I'm Kristy Calliope, and this is Kiersten Cullivan. And we wanted to talk a little bit about, we understand there are misconceptions about hospice, and we know that those conversations can be hard. So we're here to kind of unpack that. Kiersten, why do you think those conversations are difficult for families?
So it's interesting around this time of year, it really surfaces because many times around the holidays, you're noticing family members have declined a little bit more. They're not getting around as easily, or they're just not quite themselves. And the quickest next thing that happens is fear. Because there's fear of the unknown. They don't really want to acknowledge what's happening potentially with their loved one. And then the next step in the path is, what does that mean for that person? And so we talk a lot about hospice, and there's a lot of fear around what it is, and a lot of what people think it is. It's truly not that. And that's a little bit why we're here today, to talk about, where Interim is and programs available.
Yep. So what is it that Interim is doing right now to help those conversations be less fearful and scary?
Yeah, so we saw this happening, and 50% of patients who receive hospice only receive it for 18 days or fewer. And the benefits meant for those with a prognosis of 6 months or less, so they can be on hospice for months, and many miss out a lot of times due to fear. So at Interim, we wanted to really kind of rip that apart and help patients and families see what hospice truly is. And we've developed this program called Finding Peace, A Meaningful Goodbye, that takes a tailored phased approach to hospice, showing patients and families what hospice truly can be, and not this fearful last days of life that many think it is.
Love that. So this is Finding Peace, A Meaningful Goodbye, and it's a new program, and we know it's that hospice isn't intended for those final days, right? It's intended to be over a longer period of time in phases.
Yes.
What are those phases?
Yes, so we basically looked at what are all the things that patients and families who enjoy the full benefit, that get the full 6 months, what do they really get from the care? And we've broken it into the phases of 3 different phases. And the phase 1 is really a phase focused on learning and education. So when we first get in with hospice care, we're educating patients and families on what hospice is, what it's not, what they can expect, who their care team is, some of the things they can be preparing for, and normalizing conversations around end of life, because many of us, those that are getting it for the first time, they don't know how to engage in conversations around death, and that it's okay to talk about the next steps and plan. So spending a lot of time trust building. And then we move into phase 2, which is really that time of togetherness and creating meaningful moments. So the trust is built and families feel confident in caring for their loved one, and now they can spend that precious time walking through meaningful moments together, and those beautiful times talking about family trees, talking about family myths, family traditions, how their loved one wants to be remembered, navigating difficult emotions, and starting to open that dialogue so that nothing is left unsaid. And then as we move into phase 3, everyone's prepared. And as I mentioned when we first started this, 50% of patients really only receive that phase 3, the last days of life. And hospice is so much more. Patients miss out on phase 1 and 2 many times, those that only receive it in the last days of life, because our goal is to prepare you for phase 3 so that when those last days of life come, there's trust, and they know, and they're equipped, and they also feel like they've said everything to their loved one that they need to, and they are going to be honoring their wishes.
What a gift to the family. I really do feel like it helps them set up that, when that time comes, they feel like they're honoring them, and they don't have to be worried about whether they're doing that or not.
Yes.
And so what would you say to families listening right now? How could we encourage them to have those conversations, and just what would you say to them?
Yes, I think the biggest piece is be open. Our quickest thing when it comes to the potential of end of life, we're all dying. And I think our biggest thing is we shy away from it. And sometimes your loved one might open the dialogue and they may say, hey, I want to talk to you about this. And our immediate reaction is to say, no, you're not dying. You're not going anywhere. We're all dying. And I think the biggest piece is just to be leaned in and be your biggest advocate. Open the dialogue. If you have a physician that maybe mentions palliative or hospice, instead of being fearful, no, there's so much more. And lean in versus leaning out. I think that's the biggest opportunity here.
It's so true. And we have such a great resource that we provide them with that has worksheets, right? That they can work through those, and it's just a tangible way to see where they're going.
Yes.
Yeah, where we're all really
Yes.
knowing. So I love that. That was super helpful. We are going to continue this conversation and dig in a little bit more as we go along, so stay tuned. You can also find us on our website or giving us a call. But if you are seeing this on social media, we would love for you to click the link in the comments, because you will find our YouTube channel. And there we have a lot of great resources on all of our services: home health, hospice, and personal care. We have a specific hospice playlist that helps unpack a lot of questions and myths around hospice. And if you are on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe, because we like to put out content that helps you make an informed decision, and you'll find a lot of those here on YouTube. Thank you guys so much, and thank you, Kiersten, for talking to us today about hospice. And I'm excited about just being able to unpack that so that we empower families.
Oh yes, absolutely. Thank you for the time.